Entrepreneur Summit, right? You heard of that? And the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit is an organization. What it does is it actually has this one-day event. It will give you all the understanding that you need to have for your business. Stuff like, how the business license works, how the tax planning works. So everything a business owner needs to know, especially small business owner need to know, it is there for a yes. So Immigrant Summit is an event that's going on, and they sell ticket for $35. And I have many business owners would come to ask things related to donating or purchasing, ticket or donating to IES. How is this gonna work on my accounting? So that's why we're here to kind of cover that, to make sure that we're on the same page in terms of what you would need to do, and when you are putting money in with a nonprofit. So let me share my screen with you for this session. So I hope you are looking at my slides, and that is, can I deduct money paid to Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit as a business expense? Okay, first of all, this question translated us to say, can I deduct money paid to a nonprofit as a business expense? Can I? So let's try to answer that question. And first of all, introducing myself and the speaker information. My name is Ying. I am the CEO and a managing partner at Community CPA. We are a full service regional CPA firm. And I served their advocacy panel. This is a federal advisory committee to IRS. I served on the board for 3 years, and I have this book you can see with Ying at 8 a.m. That is the first book I wrote back in 2019. I actually just finished writing the second book. It is 10 a.m. Yes, I have 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. 4 timelines in the day I want to write about, representing the business process from beginning of the business to growing the business, and to merger, acquisition, expanding the business, all the way to retiring from business. This is how, I like to illustrate how a business person would go through the business development, right? And our webinar, no responsibility disclaimer, just information out there. When you want to quote or relying on a information and you want to engage that person, don't trust what people say on the internet. You can't even trust president, right? You can't trust what President Trump is saying, and never mind about people, and that people on that kind of stage, they're still lying, and never mind about other people. When they just talk, they may not be purposefully lying like he does, but they may be accidentally saying things wrong. So you want to fact check of everything you know. This is a nonprofit organization, 501c3. You know that you can check s.gov to see whether those nonprofit organization is actually real nonprofit, because people who just come around tell you that I'm nonprofit, give me money, you can deduct donation. No, don't do that. And you want to check with IRS to see whether they really truly have that status. And this is an event, for example, it happens tomorrow, and this event, IES, Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit, has been in existence for what? For 17 years. So it's an old organization, has always been doing this type of event. I use this event as an example for a couple of reasons. Number one, Community CPA, we financially support this nonprofit. Number two, this event happens tomorrow, so you can relate to it. Number three, this event covers all kind of deductions you're gonna have. That's why I want to use this event to give you a good understanding when you work with a nonprofit, how you're gonna deduct the expenses that you used on it, okay? Now, the event, just very quickly, the event is 8:30 to 3:30, is located at Base Camp Leadership Center, 6202 Bloomington Road, okay, in Minnesota. So you got the address. And there is a website. You can go iesusa.org. So you can purchase ticket there. And the one thing I want to highlight, and these are the award-winning folks for tomorrow at lunchtime, and they will be receiving award. Let's say you are family members coming to the event, and you're not a business, you're a good friend with Tommy, and you want to come to participate in the event. And then you got this $35 ticket that you bought. And if you are coming into if you're paying the $35 as a ticket, because it is a nonprofit event, that $35 ticket, you can actually put in on your Schedule A, and you can deduct that as a charitable donation. But I also tell you that it makes no difference for you, because the Schedule A has changed so much. And really, if you donate $35, it's not going to make any difference for you. You might as well just forget it. But if you are a business, okay, you come in, you bought a ticket, and then maybe you want to do other things, then what you want to do, how are you going to deduct that fee? So let's just look at that. So these are award-winning folks on that day. See, that's one content. So when you attend a award-winning ceremony, you just come to eat and you just want to see the award. Generally speaking, there's nothing to deduct, right? $35 is not big enough to deduct anything. Also, you do have lunch got paid. So it's sort of like your regular expenses. So really, even if you say that, well, it's qualified for charitable donation, it doesn't really make much difference. So that is your personal expenses right there. But what about, it has many seminars. Like there's a morning workshop, there's also afternoon workshop. So for example, you come into morning workshop and you are like, oh yeah, I like the 3D tax saving strategy that Ying is going to teach. I am going to be in the event and teach the room A, okay? So I'll be there, and that is from 9:30 to 10:15. So I have about 45 minutes there to explain to you what is three-dimensional tax strategy for small businesses. You should all come to here. Let's say you come to this one. You paid $35, you're just gonna come to this one. That's $35. It will become your training and the learning expense. So in your accounting book, you would have training, professional development as a line item. Just like Community CPA, our folks, we are going out of state to attend workshops, attend conferences. Those are all part of training. So you as a business owner, you can spend that as your expense. So now, if you come in, you did trainings like that, and you went through the morning, look, we have making sense of financial statement. They teach you how to read financial statement. And look at this room C, bidding for government contract, very useful. So small business lending options, like money, how to get more money, very helpful, right? So those are the things you will learn from the workshop in the afternoon from 1:45 to 2:30. And these are 3 webinars that's going at the same time. Room ABC, look at that, tax tips for entrepreneurs. Who doesn't want to know that? You really want to. And this is done by IRS. Alan Gregerson, and I know this gentleman for a long time, and I would say that you come over to, listen to these. When you're paying money to attend training, you deduct it. Your travel and your ticket, if you're flying, driving in, and if you didn't end up eating lunch and you need to eat lunch outside, all of that is your expenses for the training, and then you can deduct it. Now, we talked about what? We talked about the 35 ticket for personal, 35 for people who come to learn. That's your training expenses. Now we have exhibitors. These are exhibitors at that event. People are putting out the desk and trying, right? So these exhibitors, when they pay money to IES, saying that I want to buy this table so I can exhibit, what is that? That is marketing expense, yes. So you print out brochure and you come into stand table and you hire people to stand on the table. All of that is expense. So business owners, if you are exhibitors, you can deduct that as a business expense, right? So that's another layer of donating to nonprofit. So don't just think of as donating, and think of the need is to learn skills. So your deduction will be different. Now, ticket cost. Ticket cost $35. Can I deduct? Answer that, right? So common ways that it can be considered a business event, including training, professional development. That's one way to deduct it. And the charitable donation, I'm covering that. Marketing. All right. So of course, the number one I was talking about, the individual one, you don't really deduct it because you kind of expensed it. There's no good avenue for you to deduct it. But as a business, you can deduct as training, deduct it as marketing. And there's another one called charitable contribution. Yes, for individual, of course, you can do charitable contribution, but for business though. And for example, the IES has been supported by, national level banks like Wells Fargo, US Bank, and then these banks, they deduct that as a contribution. So every organization, when they put money into donation and contribution, they are limitation to how much they can do, okay? So now let me cover a couple slides right here. So if you make that training development, so someone may say something like, this event helps me to learn how to do business. So it should be a training, see? So that lands you into the training, right? So a couple of items I put in here is, you may be able to deduct if you're a self-employed individual, and you can include the cost in your Schedule C, okay? The cost can include transportation, supplies, certain travel costs, and if you need to meet certain license, they require you to have certain credit. And just know that IES training has not really become those training credit yet. If they don't require certain certification, those are good trainings. But to get professional training, like we are CPAs, right? So we get training every year, but we can only go to certain those kind of credited training. So don't confuse with general training with credited training. You don't need accredited training when you are running general business. You only, when you're professionals, your doctors, your dentists, your CPAs, your lawyers, that's when you need that special license certified training. All right, contribution, charitable contribution. So IES is a charitable donation, charitable organization to receive money that you put it in. And you can check whether these, because if they are not, the money you put in cannot work. That is the link I gave you, irs.gov, charities, nonprofit, /tax exempt organizations. And that is what you have. And you can check to see whether IES, Immigrant Entrepreneurs Summit, is a approved organization. Of course it is. And we make sure it is, because Community CPA is the one that taking care of all the filings and stuff for IES. So we know that, it is in good standard. But if you donate to other nonprofit, that's where you want to be careful. For company donation, under the JOB Act, this is President Trump put together on JOB Act. There's some really good rules in there. But there's a particular one had limited the contribution to 10% of taxable income. What that says is, if you $100,000 net profit, you're paying $21,000 on taxes, and the Job Act only allows you to deduct to have 10% of donation. So what if you put more than 10% and you carry it over? You cannot deduct more than 10%. So if you made $100,000 income, 10% of that is 10,000. So you can only donate to Community CPA, to IES, to Immigrant Entrepreneurs Summit for 10%, 10,000. Of course, if you did 100,000, then you will have to push that out to the future year. But a lot of times, made 100,000, maybe half of that is for marketing purposes, then half of that is for donation. So you want to clarify what exactly those dollars mean and how you want IES to use it, right? So that would be the key. And the donation in excess of 25% may be deducted in the following 5 years. What it's saying is that if you over contribute over 25% of your $100,000 net profit, then that top for 5 years. That's what that means. So basically what I want you to know is that your charitable contribution that you put out to nonprofit, it does go with how much money you make. It's not unlimited. You cannot go to donate it all. The only time you actually can donate it all was 2020. So that was a particular pandemic year. So, but the Job Act started in 2019 is carry on, and there was CARES Act coming in, make a change for a very short period of time. And now, continue on this subject, charitable contribution from business to nonprofit tax deduction, and with such a limit, right? So for partnership, you deducted on A. What does that mean? It just says that the partnership and the 1120S are passed through entity, and when they are passed through, you don't deduct contribution in the corporation at the corporation level. You go down to Schedule A level to deduct. And when you go to Schedule A level to deduct, it's kind of a limitation with your income on your 1040. And also remember the standard deduction has increased during Trump's time. So a lot of time you don't go over that $25,000 threshold, then it doesn't make any difference, right? So there is a pass-through element in there. It is deducted right in the return on line 19. Of course, like when you do Schedule C and stuff, it will be deducted in Schedule A. Now, remember the contribution can be deducted with as a training, as a charitable donation, as a marketing, right? So how do you justify marketing? Read this. This event helps kind of get new clients. It is marketing. You see how your purpose will drive how you deduct it, okay? Advertising, marketing cost is an ordinary business expense. You can deduct 100%. And if your marketing and advertising are so big and you run your business negative, yeah, then you deduct negative. Then you can offset all of your income and get tax refunded back to you, right? It is 100% deductible. Of course, everything is about bonus, right? So if you say that I bought a ticket from IES that cost $35,000, I don't think there is a nonprofit organization, and at our level, we serve small, medium-sized businesses, right? Would have that kind of, ticket. So $35, and you can donate, and we have, at IES, remember we, Community CPA, we contribute to IES in the very large scale. And every year for past 16 years, Community CPA has the primary sponsor for IES. That's why it's dear to my heart. And when you participate in IES, I promise you, find new energy. And this is all about energy, right? When we do something, whether we can get it done right, whether we're excited about it or not, whether it is going to go forward and the scaling, it is all about energy. If you want to pick up the positive energy, if you want to learn the skills that make you smarter, that's the place to go. And there's so many practical solutions. Someone need IT, you're gonna find out where to apply for it. And local representatives is here and they can help you. Someone needed to know, why am I paying so much taxes, million times more than what President Trump is paying? You find solutions to that, okay? So with that said, and you Immigrant Entrepreneurs Summit as one good example of how we can deduct the expense, and that's our core understanding with you today. And now you know, when you donate to nonprofit organization, and you say I donate, but your money goes into nonprofit, you can deduct it 3 ways. Number 1, training. Number 2, marketing. Number 3, charitable donation. Charitable donation, that doesn't make any money and you literally cannot deduct anything, right? And marketing, no limitation. Training, no limitation. With that said, and that will give you an idea of how to handle your donations to all the nonprofit. I hope you had a great time and listened to me today. I am 2 minutes late. That's just not like me, and I'm never late. But I hope that you learned something from the short presentation. I'll see you on Saturday again. Bye-bye.